Hi, this is Annie Fox for Family Confidential, Secrets of Successful Parenting. My guest today is Sarah Spear. Sarah is a self-publisher of techie children's books, the My Little Geek series, as well as a weekly podcaster. Her podcast, The Parentalist, is for parents who love business and love their families. Hi, Sarah. Welcome to Family Confidential.
Hi, Annie. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, I'm excited that you're my guest, and I detect a little bit of an accent. Can you tell me where you're calling from?
I'm from Auckland here in New Zealand on the bottom of the world.
Oh, beautiful New Zealand. It's on my list. Ever since I saw The Lord of the Rings, like everybody else, I wanted to see New Zealand. So you're very fortunate to live in such a beautiful, beautiful place. And I'm also a follower. Yes, it's great. I'm also a follower of your podcast, Parentalist. And I wanted to specifically ask you, not so much about podcasting, but your passion for it and how you find a balance between being a mom and doing what you love. Because I think a lot of women think about the idea of work-family balance as, okay, my time of work for pay versus my family time. But there are other kinds of work that we do, and part of it is just the passion that we have for our interests. So can you tell us a little bit about how you balance those things?
Well, first of all, I just want to say I think it's just amazing to follow your passion, because I find when I do follow my passion, I am a better person. I'm more happier because I feel fulfilled and more energized to be a better mum. So if you're not following your passion, please have a think and see what you can do. But my children, my youngest is 4 and my eldest is 6. And so I started podcasting just after she turned 3, I think, my youngest. And so she was still at home a lot of the time. There were a couple of days she'd go to a creche, couple of mornings. And so even if I had like 2 hours, I would kind of just cram in. But it's amazing how efficient you can be and focused you can be when you've only got a specific amount of time. And also when also what I found is when they're in bed, so after 7:30 at night, I could do interviews or work on it, and also before they got up in the morning. So I'm not really a morning person, but hey, I really love it. It's what I'm doing. So sometimes you've just got to get up early and make it happen.
Well, what do you think about this? I mean, sometimes if your passion involves something that you do at home and you notice dirty laundry that needs to be washed or things that need to be picked up, sometimes for moms, especially, it can be distracting and they go, oh, okay, I'm going to get to my passion after I do all of this other stuff that needs to be done around the house. How do you discipline yourself?
Well, I guess discipline is a good word, setting boundaries. I had Mondays, it used to be Tuesdays, but I've put aside Mondays where I do the housework. I normally have a messy house because the kids just love to play and I just let them do it. And so Monday, I clean the house and do some tidying. And so today is Tuesday, so I feel free to be able to do my passion because I know that is done. I kind of don't do laundry unless it's maybe if I say 10 o'clock I'm going to start or 9:30 I'm going to start, then I might, say, okay, I can do half an hour of tidying up or putting the laundry on and then before I get started, or perhaps, I just wait till 12 o'clock, pick up Sophie from kindy or preschool, and then come home, put the washing on and do that kind of thing, because it's that kind of no-brainer kind of things, whereas that focused time in the morning, I really want to dedicate to my passion. So,
Well, I think it's really important what you said. A couple of things here that I'd like to pick up on. You need to be organized to some degree, to have a schedule and fit your passion into your schedule and prioritize it in the same way. Well, not at the same level, of course, of your children's needs, but when you have opportunities to make time for your passion, what is it that you choose to do? As you say, you can spend a little bit of time, but very focused, tidying up, and then you will still have time to do your passion. I also love what you said a little bit earlier about it makes you a happier person when you do what you love to do outside of being a mom. As much as we love being parents, there's a part of us that is a unique individual. And for those of you who may not have thought about this yet, I can tell you, since my children are all grown up, they do eventually leave the house. And if you think if you think about your passion as a garden, if you don't continue to nurture it, when your children leave the house, you may either forget what you love to do or be so disconnected from it that you no longer believe that you can do it. And that would be a terrible, terrible loss.
Absolutely. So, Annie, you were mentioned in our pre-chat that you actually started your passion when your children were a bit older. Is that right?
Yes, my son was 12 at the time, and he was in the 6th grade, beginning what we call middle school. And my daughter was 17, and she was a senior in high school, the year before you go off to university. And so, in a way, it was much easier for me than for you, for example, with a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. But what I tell people when they look at my website or they say, my goodness, you've published 11 books, you do so much stuff. And it really comes from being willing to keep watering the garden a little bit of it at a time. Those things really do build up, and don't abandon your dream, because the children will begin needing you less and less. They'll have more of a social life, and your ability to continue doing what you love is, as you say, will make you a happier person. I personally think it makes you a better mom because you're a great role model.
Absolutely. And I just love that, no matter if you have young children like me or a bit older children like you, we can all find a little bit of time, and it's not too late to start. Some people might start when their kids are babies or they might start when their kids are teenagers and maybe off out of the house. So, it's never too late to find your passion and just give it a go and fit it in.
Let's talk about finding your passion for podcasting. Well, obviously, you didn't grow up with an idea of being a podcaster because there was no such thing.
No.
So, how did you discover what it is that you love to do so much?
Well, when I look back, I think when I was 7 or 8 years old, I was one of the last people to be picked in, in a game or something. And I just remember that's all right, because one day I'm going to talk to important people and important people are going to know me.
Wow.
Now, podcasting did not exist. So I had no idea what that would look like or anything. But about just over probably a year and a half ago, I got an upgrade on my phone due to an insurance claim. And I started listening to podcasts, and they were saying, what is your passion? What do you want to do? If you just sat down and thought about it. Well, my things are, I love encouraging parents and I love meeting new people. So podcasting just seemed really great for me. Yeah.
And now that you've got a podcast going, how do you let people know about it? How do you expand your challenges? I know for myself, I'm a writer, and I started writing children's books for young children, picture books, which are not as easy as they seem to be. But I always like to kind of expand my goals for myself. Right now, I'm working on a teen novel, which is, oh my goodness, really challenging. But
Awesome.
I think it's really important as we engage in our passion also to keep ourselves open to expanding our skill set and our talents. So you say you started your podcast a year and a half ago?
Yeah, we're just coming up to our birthday here in November.
Wonderful.
So really excited about that. So I've got been asking my previous guests from that year, what's their favourite kids party game that they used to do. And so that's been quite fun finding out what everyone's favourite was. But when our kids were even littler, we actually started a My Little Geek series, so an ABC shapes and numbers, little books just like you actually. So it's kind of just, we just find what we like and we actually do it. We self-published 3
Ah,
books.
mm-hmm.
I learnt the skills of podcasting. As you know, it's not just simple like
No, it isn't.
push go and there you are. Annie was really good in making sure that I was in the right place and doing the right things, it shows her expertise because she knows what's going to look good. That it's just, there's so much to learn. And so I think when you're continually learning and also I actually like to aim really high with my guests. Like I've asked J.K. Rowling, she said no.
But you asked, and that's great.
Those kind of people, I'm just going to ask, and then it makes people who are equally important, but perhaps a bit more accessible when you say, well, I tried J.K. Rowling, so I might as well try this famous entrepreneur, and they might say yes, and every now and then they do. So it's just like, oh, that's great.
Okay, so what I hear you saying, Sarah, is that you're expanding your skill set by maybe getting up the courage to reach out to someone very famous and ask. And then when they say yes, and I'm sure they will, when that person says yes, you're going to be very prepared and you're going to make sure that you're very professional in all aspects of your podcasting. I also like what I heard you say about, I got the idea and we just did it. There are a lot of people who feel somehow that those of us who are productive have some special secret to getting things done. And, people say to me, oh, I've always wanted to be a writer. And in jest, I say, well, what do you need? Do you need a pencil?
Yeah,
You
true.
can just do it, especially nowadays when we have the technology not only to produce content, we have the means to distribute the content.
It's
So,
so affordable too, isn't it?
yes. So, what words of encouragement would you have for someone who's in our audience right now saying, I love to talk to people, I love to ask questions and learn about people. I think I would be a great interviewer. Sarah, how can I be a podcaster? I'm scared. What can I do?
Well, there's many great training things out there. I'm actually going to be putting together a training how to podcast
Oh, great.
together in the next, I'm going to say 6 months. I mean, ideally in the next month, but I'm trying to be realistic here. But people like Pat Flynn will have free content on how to do a podcast as well. But also, I'd encourage you to reach out to other podcasters. I reached out to Annie to join my family podcast community on Facebook, which basically I just contacted a whole lot of people in the same industry that I'm in and just said, hey, shall we just connect as a group,
You,
and
you
there's
can
also
learn so
Podcasters
much.
Paradise.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just about being there to help each other out, or someone might have a question that you might have an answer to, but I think you could do some research yourself. You probably need a good microphone. I use Adobe Audition. You could possibly use GarageBand. I use Line-In and Soundflower. They are both free to use, and some headphones. Make sure you got some headphones in, because and plug-in microphone. Yeah, I think you're ready to go. It's really not that hard. And I actually practiced on my friends, which is a really good idea. In my first interview with my best friend, she lives in Australia, um, I couldn't hear her for half an hour. I had no idea what I'd done wrong. It was just a simple setting I had incorrectly. But I'd rather do it with a friend than an important entrepreneur or anybody else, because it just makes you look unprofessional. So and another friend, I did it. I don't know what happened with my recording, but it was lost. I didn't save it properly, so it was completely lost. So now I save it twice.
Okay, you've learned.
Everything I do. Yeah. So, and in my interview with New Zealand's Entrepreneur of the Year last year, Rod Jury, it was incredible opportunity. I had 3 hours. He said yes. We did the interview at 7:30, maybe it's 4 hours. I quickly looked on Google. Instead of going to his website for the bio, I actually went to Wikipedia, rattled off a whole lot of stuff about him because I wanted to didn't want to miss anything out.
Right?
And which was, I just use 2 sentences nowadays. And he said, oh, that's a bit incorrect there. It's like, oh no. But, he was very graceful, and I think you'll find a lot of people are, and they'll just roll with it, have a positive attitude, and yeah, it's funny.
Yes, it is really, it's really funny. And I do find that most people, when I approach them, especially if they have a new book or something they're wanting to promote, it's very easy to get a guest to say yes, because as I see it, it's a win-win situation. We only have a couple of minutes left, Sarah. It's been so delightful. Boy, did it go fast. I wanted you to just give us a couple of tips on once you get this awesome podcast in the can, as we say, it's done. How do you let people know that it's there for them to enjoy and learn from?
Well, social media is the best way to go. Twitter, I think, has been quite effective for quite a few podcasters. And I think the way to go with Twitter is hashtag. So hashtag, if you're interviewing someone, an entrepreneur, for example, and it's about marketing, hashtag entrepreneur, hashtag as much as you can to try and attract people to that podcast. Share it on social media, share it with your friends as well. I have a social media, a Facebook, the Parentalist website, Facebook page, and then I share it again to my friends as well. And I find at the moment I get more interaction with my friends than I do on the Facebook, the Parentalist Facebook page. So it's just just trying things out. Another way is to be a guest on other people's show. And and just getting in contact with other people, and actually sharing it with other blog sites as well. If you had a really awesome interview with someone who's really hot at the moment, or really really appropriate for that blog or that news site, we'll just get in touch with them and see if they'll share it as well. There's no harm in trying, right?
Well, you need persistence, and you need, I was thinking as you're talking, people are willing to share things that are good quality, but you have to be willing to share your own stuff. So you need the confidence that what you've produced here is worth people's time in listening. And I think that bit of confidence also goes into anything that you follow your passion about. That sometimes I think women especially, when they become moms, they say, okay, well, I'm being a mom now, and the other stuff, I wasn't really ever very good at it anyway. I loved it, but, it wasn't, so all those voices that kind of make you less confident, I think it's really important to tell those voices, shut up. I'm going to do this now. And you will find that most of the things that you're passionate about really are a skill. And the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Absolutely.
So before we leave, Sarah, can you give us, my listeners and my viewers, please, a URL on where they can find out more about your work and your podcast?
Theparentalist.com is the best way to find out about my podcast. sarahspear.com has a bit of information about me and other things that I get up to as well.
I had just one more question, because before we mentioned role modeling, I want to know what your 6- and 4-year-old think about your podcast.
Well, I don't really think they know much about it, to be honest. I just tell them about it often.
They've not listened?
No, I don't really think it would interest them, but I started exercising about a year ago, and it's really cool to see them copy me, come and join me exercising and that kind of thing. So role modeling with exercise I think is really, really good too.
Very good. Very good. Okay. Well, thank you so much for spending your time with us. For here, it's early afternoon, and what time is it in New Zealand?
10:30 in the morning. It's great.
Okay. Oh, the next day. It's the next day. I'm in Monday. You're in Tuesday. Okay. Great.
I'm from Tuesday.
Yes. Well, I hope it's a good one.
Oh, it's awesome.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for your time, Sarah. I so appreciate this opportunity to talk to you.
Thank you so much, Annie. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
This is Annie Foxer, Family Confidential. To learn more about my work with tweens, teens, and parents, visit anniefox.com. And please check out my new book, The Girls Q&A Book on Friendship, 50 Ways to Fix a Friendship Without the Drama. And tune in next week when my guest will be Sharon Silver. Sharon is a parent educator, a coach, and the author of Stop Reacting and Start Responding. Until next time, happy parenting.